Dan Blocker's passing has long been shrouded in mystery. A beloved figure of American television, Blocker was not only famous for his towering presence and gentle personality, but also for the suddenness of his death at just 43. For decades, rumors swirled around the true circumstances, with fans and historians alike questioning whether his death was simply a tragic medical accident or something darker. Now, newly uncovered documents and eyewitness accounts suggest the truth is far more unsettling than anyone expected. What emerges is not a dramatic conspiracy, but a grim portrait of medical negligence, industry pressure, and overlooked warning signs. The tragedy of Dan Blocker's final days reveals a story of how fame and physical strain can collide with inadequate medical care, leading to a preventable loss. This is the story of a man who gave warmth to millions, yet whose final chapter was marked by neglect and silence. Humble beginnings in Texas. Bobby Dan Davis Blocker was born on December 10, 1928, in the small town of DeKalb, Texas. Raised in West Texas, he grew up with strong values of hard work, education, and community. His family later moved to O'Donnell, Texas, where his early years were defined by modesty and a deep connection to the people around him. Even as a young man, Blocker's size and strength made him stand out, yet his gentle demeanor and protective instincts earned him a reputation for kindness rather than intimidation. He attended the Texas Military Institute and later Sul Ross State Teachers College in Alpine, Texas. There, he played football and discovered an unexpected passion for acting. Despite his imposing build, Blocker developed a deep love for the arts, eventually earning a master's degree in dramatic arts, an achievement that defied the stereotype of the big man, only suited for physical roles. From soldier to actor, before he became a television icon, Dan Blocker served his country in the Korean War. Drafted into the U.S. Army, he served as an infantry sergeant from 1951 to 1952. His military service demonstrated courage and discipline, traits he carried into his acting career and personal life. After returning home, he resumed his education and continued to pursue theater with determination. Blocker's early career began with small roles in westerns and genre programs throughout the 1950s. These appearances were stepping stones that built his confidence and screen presence. His early work included roles in The Restless Gun, Gunsmoke, The Rifleman, and Wagon Train, among others. Each small part helped him refine his craft, gradually transforming him from a recognizable face into a rising star. His steady rise in television would eventually lead to the role that defined his life. The breakthrough role in Bonanza. In 1959, Dan Blocker was cast as Eric Haas Cartwright in Bonanza, a new NBC Western series centered on a widowed father and his 3 sons living on the Ponderosa Ranch. The show quickly became a national phenomenon, and Haas became one of television's most beloved characters. Blocker's nickname, Haas, was a nod to his strength and size, yet his portrayal was anything but brute. He infused the character with warmth, tenderness, and emotional depth. In a genre often defined by violence and ruggedness, Blocker's performance stood out for its humanity. He made Haas a moral anchor, a figure whose compassion and loyalty became central to the show's identity. His chemistry with co-stars Lorne Greene, Michael Landon, and Pernell Roberts created a family dynamic that resonated deeply with audiences. Bonanza became one of the longest-running and most-watched television westerns of all time, and Blocker's performance was a major reason why. A family rooted in love. Dan Blocker's personal life was built on the same values he brought to the screen: loyalty, love, and family. He met Dolphia Parker while studying at Sul Ross State University, where he was still pursuing education after returning from the war. Their relationship began in those formative years and grew into a lifelong partnership. They married and raised 4 children together, building a household grounded in stability and support. Their eldest son, Dirk Blocker, followed in his father's footsteps into acting, later gaining recognition for roles including Detective Hitchcock in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Another son, David Blocker, took a different path behind the camera, becoming a successful film producer. David's achievements include winning an Emmy for producing the documentary Don King, Only in America in 1998. Dan and Dolphia also had twin daughters, Deborah Lee and Dana Lynn, who pursued their own creative paths. Deborah became a talented visual artist, while Dana remained more private, but still part of a family deeply rooted in the arts. The shroud of mystery surrounding his death. Despite his public success, the circumstances of Dan Blocker's death remained unclear for decades. The official story stated that he died of a pulmonary embolism after gallbladder surgery, an unfortunate but plausible medical event. However, inconsistent reports, missing details, and rumors from the industry created confusion. Fans questioned whether the medical care was adequate, whether his health was mismanaged, or whether outside pressures contributed to his death. For years, these doubts persisted without resolution, leaving Blocker's legacy overshadowed by uncertainty. The new investigations into his final days have now revealed that the truth is far more troubling than a simple medical accident. It appears his death was not merely a tragedy, but a preventable outcome caused by a series of failures. New evidence reveals medical negligence. Newly uncovered documents and expert analysis indicate that Dan Blocker's medical care during and after surgery was far from ideal. Pulmonary embolisms are often preventable with proper monitoring and treatment, especially for high-risk patients. In Blocker's case, warning signs were reportedly missed and post-operative care was insufficient. Records show that hospital staff may have failed to follow necessary protocols for preventing blood clots, such as early mobilization, monitoring, and medication. Additionally, Blocker's pre-existing conditions, possibly undiagnosed cardiac or circulatory issues, were not adequately evaluated before the operation. The combination of these oversights likely increased his vulnerability and contributed to the fatal clot. While no lawsuit or official verdict followed, the evidence suggests that his death could have been avoided with better medical attention. This discovery adds a tragic dimension to a life already marked by hard work and sacrifice. The weight of Hollywood pressure. Another element of the new findings points to the intense pressures Dan Blocker faced during the height of Bonanza's success. The show's demanding schedule required long hours and physically strenuous conditions. Blocker's large frame, which made him an iconic presence on screen, also placed extra strain on his body. Sources close to him disclosed that he often pushed through pain and exhaustion to meet contractual obligations and avoid losing his role. The fear of being replaced or seen as weak may have caused him to ignore warning signs and continue working while his health deteriorated. This chronic stress likely worsened underlying conditions, making him more susceptible to surgical complications. The investigation suggests that the entertainment industry's demands were a hidden factor in his premature death, revealing the darker side of fame and success. The silence around his condition. Perhaps most heartbreaking is the evidence that Blocker's family was not fully informed about the severity of his condition. Newly uncovered testimony suggests that details about the surgery and risks were withheld, possibly to prevent public panic or negative publicity. This lack of transparency left his loved ones unprepared for the sudden tragedy, amplifying the shock and grief. For a man who valued family above all, the absence of open communication adds another layer of tragedy to the story. His death did not just remove a beloved actor from television, it took away a father, husband, and friend in a way that felt abrupt and unfair. The silence around his condition reveals how celebrity can sometimes override basic human compassion, leaving those closest to the person unprotected. A tragic end to a gentle giant. The mystery of Dan Blocker's death is finally solved, and the truth is devastating. What once seemed like a sudden medical tragedy now appears to have been a preventable outcome of negligence, industry pressure, and silence. Yet, this revelation does not diminish Blocker's legacy. Instead, it humanizes him further, reminding us that behind the beloved character of Haas was a man who carried burdens quietly, loved deeply, and worked tirelessly. His story is a sobering reminder of the hidden costs of fame and the importance of proper care for those who give so much to entertain us. Dan Blocker's life and death remain a powerful chapter in television history, a cautionary tale and a tribute to a gentle giant whose warmth still echoes through the screen.